Hey guys, Tara here for Rev3 Games, and today I'm bringing you the final skill tree walkthrough in our Borderlands July extravaganza. Today I'm going to be talking about Nisha The Lawbringer. If you played Borderlands 2, then you would know that she is Handsome Jack's lady friend. She also happens to be the Sheriff of Lynchwood, so almost all of her skills are going to be entirely gun-focused. Interestingly, she has almost no co-op specific skills, unlike the previous two characters that I've talked about. Of course, we haven't gotten to Claptrap yet. That will happen sometime later on in the year. But for now, let's talk about Nisha. So her action skill is called Showdown, and it basically increases every single aspect of her guns. Damage, fire rate, reload speed, accuracy, and bullet speed, with all gun types except for sniper rifles and rocket launchers, neither of which she probably uses very much anyway. It also allows her to, when she enters Showdown, automatically aim at enemies by holding the left trigger, and then she can kind of flick the right analog stick to cycle through them, which is really cool. Her first skill tree is called Law and Order. Appropriately, all of the skills are law themed, and they kind of strike a balance between health, which is sort of the law part, and then gun damage, which is seen in stacks of order. The first two skills are kind of tied into that. You have law, which increases your shield capacity and melee damage, and then you have order. So every time you take 15% of your max health and damage, you gain a stack of order up to 10, and then based on the number of stacks, you have a chance to instantly heal double the amount of damage that you have taken. So those are the first two skills. Like the previous video, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to cherry pick the ones that I think are really cool. Discipline is further down in this tree. It allows her shields to be fully restored once she reaches 10 order stacks. And then for every stack she has above 10, you also get improved melee damage, gun damage, and shield recharge delay. And then the final skill in this tree is called Thunder Crackdown. This is a melee override skill, and meleeing an enemy basically causes a large cone-shaped shock burst, which deals increased damage for every order stack that you have. There are 4 skills in this tree, including the last two I mentioned, that raise the order stack cap by 5. So that plus the initial 10 means that if you were to fill the tree out completely, you could have up to 30 stacks of order and basically just be like a complete powerhouse of destruction. And then the second skill tree for Nisha is Fan the Hammer. This one contains a lot of kill skills, and it also has a lot of skills relating to very specific gun attributes, specifically reload and magazine size. So the first, one of the first skills is called Magnificent 6, and this allows the last 6 bullets in her weapon, as long as it's a non-elemental weapon, will deal extra damage, starting from 6%, and then if you were to fill this out with all 5 points, you get up to 30%. And this also kind of ties in with Pickpocket, which allows any melee attack that she performs to steal up to 6 bullets from the enemy, and those get instantly loaded into the magazine of whatever gun she's using, except rocket launcher, of course, and there is a brief cooldown for this skill. There's also a skill called Gunslinger, which is really cool. When Showdown begins and ends, a portion of her ammo is instantly reloaded into the gun that she's using, anywhere from 1 to 5 ammo, depending on how many points you have in this skill, which is actually kind of really awesome, because when you're in Showdown, you're so powerful, the last thing you're going to want to be doing is reloading your gun. So this basically allows you to be even more powerful when you're in Showdown. And then the last skill in this tree is called One for Each of Ya, and this applies exclusively to pistols. So when she's using a pistol, you basically get an exact copy of that pistol in your offhand. So it basically allows you to double wield weapons. So if you're good at double wielding, maybe you enjoyed playing as Salvador the Gunzerker in Borderlands 2, and this is going to be a really good skill. Keep in mind that unlike Salvador, you still have the option here to use your iron sights. He could not do that. But you basically give up the gun in your offhand. It's still there, but you just can't use it. So you can double wield, and if you want to use your iron sights, you can also just shoot with the main pistol. I know a lot of people out there don't really like firing from the hip. I'm not too great at it either. And if that's the case, then Nisha probably isn't going to be the character you're going to want to play as, because her entire last skill tree is almost exclusively devoted to firing from the hip. I would say about half of the skills in here are going to be pertinent only if you're firing from the hip. Snapshot is a good example of that. This gives you dramatically increased accuracy and recoil reduction when firing from the hip, and that also goes hand in hand with the next skill, which is Quick Shot. So after reloading, you gain increased gun damage and fire rate when shooting from the hip. There's also Crack Shot, which allows the first shot you fire from a fully loaded magazine to do bonus damage, which is really cool. And if you kill an enemy with that shot, then they explode and deal damage to all of the neighboring enemies. And then Tombstone, this is a kill skill. So after killing an enemy, all of your hits have a chance to count as critical hits for a short time. It's not a super interesting skill, but it's extremely powerful nonetheless. And then at the bottom of the tree, you have her final skill, which is called the Unforgiven. And during Showdown, this allows all shots that hit any enemy to ricochet towards other nearby enemies, and it deals an extra 10% weapon damage per hit. And then when Showdown ends, it also triggers an explosion on all enemies who were shot by you, which is pretty glorious. So that is a brief rundown of her skill tree. Compared to Wilhelm and Athena, I'm not quite feeling Nisha quite as much. I just feel like her skill tree is a little bit more boring than the others. But if you're the type of person who liked playing as Salvador in Borderlands 2, or you're just really skilled with guns in general, then this is probably the character you're going to want to play as. So that is the final Borderlands July video that we're going to have for you. We will have more videos. We're probably going to hear more about the Claptrap character closer to PAX and Gamescom in September, so stay tuned for that. And then of course the game is coming out October 14th in North America and October 17th everywhere else basically. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I can do my best to answer them. Otherwise, thanks for watching. What's especially cool about him is that as you level him up, he has certain cyborg augmentation skills, and when you enact those skills, he starts to take on his robotic form, and you can actually see the physical changes that happen as he learns those skills, and he's the only character in the game who does that, so that's really cool. His action skill is called